And now we would like to invite Professor Tan back on stage to present the Annual Teaching Excellence Award and Honor Roll certificates. The recipients of the Annual Teaching Excellence Award 2007-2008 are from the NUS Business School, from the Department of Decision Sciences, Associate Professor Sam Chi Chuang. From the Department of Marketing, Associate Professor Jochen Wirtz. From the Center for English Language Communication, we have Ms. Peggy Chan. Also from the Center for English Language Communication, Dr. Wu Siu Mei. From the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, we have, from the Center for Language Studies, Ms. Izumi Walker. From the Communications and New Media Program, Mr. Alexander Ian Mitchell. Also from the Communications and New Media Program, Associate Professor Millie Rivera. From the Department of English Language and Literature, we have Associate Professor Philip Holden. Also from the Department of English Language and Literature, Dr. Valerie Wee Su Lin. From the Department of Geography, Associate Professor T.C. Cheng. From the Department of History, Associate Professor Brian Farrell. From the Department of Sociology, Dr. Daniel Goh. For the award winners, from the School of Design and Environment, we have, from the Department of Architecture, Mr. Chia Kok Ming. From the Department of Building, Associate Professor Willie Tan. From the Department of Real Estate, Associate Professor Harold Tan Hock Chye. Also from the Department of Real Estate, Dr. Grace Wong K. May. For the award winners from the Faculty of Law, we have Dr. Tan Xiao Hon, and Associate Professor Tang Hang Wu. From the School of Computing, we have 3 recipients from the Department of Computer Science. They are Dr. Ben Leong, Dr. Ui Wei Sang, Mr. Aaron Tan Tak Choi. Also from the School of Computing, from the Department of Information Systems, we have Mr. Anand Mohan Ramchand. From the Faculty of Dentistry, from the Department of Restorative Dentistry, Dr. Joanne Uy. For the award winners from the Faculty of Engineering, we have from the Department of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering, Associate Professor Lo Kai Chi. Also from the Department of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering, Dr. Tong Yen Hwa. From the Department of Civil Engineering, Dr. Pang Zidai. We have 3 recipients from the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. They are Associate Professor Dipti Srinivasan, Dr. Heng Chun Huat, and Associate Professor Sanjeev Kumar Panda. From the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, Dr. Ng Zu Hui. From the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Associate Professor Lim Kien Meng. From the University Scholars Program, we have Associate Professor Leong Hon Wai. From the Yong Lu Lin School of Medicine, we have, from the Department of Anatomy, Dr. George Yip. From the Department of Medicine, Associate Professor Paul Tambia. For the award winners from the Faculty of Science, we have, from the Department of Biological Sciences, Associate Professor Rudolf Meyer. From the Department of Chemistry, Associate Professor Zhou Wei Biao. From the Department of Mathematics, Professor Lee Su Tek. From the Department of Pharmacy, Dr. Eric Chan Chun Yong. From the Department of Physics, Associate Professor Phil Chan Aik Hui. From the Department of Statistics and Probability, Ms. Chen Pei Yi. Congratulations to our award winners. We would also like to acknowledge the following 5 award winners who are unable to join us this morning. They are from the NUS Business School, from the Department of Accounting, Dr. Cheng Chi Kiong, from the School of Computing, from the Department of Computer Science, Dr. Su Yuan Jian, from the Faculty of Engineering, from the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Professor Lee Tong Heng, from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Associate Professor Cheng Lee, and from the Yong Lu Lin School of Medicine, from the Department of Epidemiology and Public Health, Dr. Gerald Koh. Let's give them a round of applause. Professor Tan will now present certificates to the following 5 colleagues who have been placed in this year's honor roll. They are from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, Department of Japanese Studies, Dr. Simon Avenel. From the School of Computing, Department of Computer Science, Associate Professor Gary Tan. From the School of Design and Environment, Department of Building, Associate Professor Florence Ling. Also from the Department of Building, Associate Professor Wong Nyuk Hien. And from the Faculty of Science, Department of Mathematics, Associate Professor Victor Tan. We would also like to acknowledge the following 3 honor roll recipients who are unable to join us this morning. They are from the School of Design and Environment, from the Department of Real Estate, Associate Professor Alice Christudasan, from the Faculty of Engineering, Department of Civil Engineering, Professor Richard Liu, from the Faculty of Science, Department of Biological Sciences, Professor Alex Ip. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Professor Tan, and congratulations again to all our award winners. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this morning's proceedings. We would now like to invite you to the tea reception outside. Thank you.